Have you ever wondered how a Tesla with full self-driving handles driving around road construction at night? So was I. Tag along as we take my Model Y Juniper running version 3.2.9 on a drive to see how it handles. Let's go. All right, so we have Buc-ee's in St. Augustine set as our destination. We're gonna start full self-driving and we are going to go. Wanted to do this night ride for a while because whenever I tell people I autonomously drive the car or I let the car autonomously drive me, they always get freaked out and weirded out about the whole situation. So rather than freak people out, I can send them to this YouTube video so they can see. So we're not gonna sit for the whole thing. There are certain parts of the video that I will speed up because we're gonna do a 2 Buc-ee's and back to the area where I live, because there's a few things that I want to show how well this car maneuvers around at night. So this ride is going to be a mix of regular side streets and the highway. And then coming back will probably be the exact same way, but turned around. So the area that I live in St. Johns County is under a lot of construction. And I was actually nervous about having the car autonomously drive itself with all the construction going on. And one day I was driving around at night and I was just like, let's see what happens. And boy, was I surprised. They have the entrance to my community closed because they're doing a bunch of construction work. And when you turn into the community, you have to come into the exit lanes. And we'll see that on the way back. But just seeing how it navigates and is able to get around all the construction that's here truly was mind-blowing. And the one thing you will notice, which I think you can see on camera, is as cars approach us, you see the adaptive headlights and how they're dimming pixels as cars are coming towards us, which, bravo to that. Like, to me, the car driving itself is really cool, but the way that it can sense not only cars, but it does it with houses too. If you're coming up to a house where it'll start to dim the pixels so you're not shining your high beam inside of the house, I think is probably one of the coolest features of this car. All right, so we are coming up to the crazy construction zone. So normally we would just make this right turn out, but we have to go over the normal lanes of traffic. And that, when I first did that, I was shocked that it was able to understand that the road was closed, not try to turn into the cones, and how it's going to maneuver how this road snakes around, and towards the end of the construction zone, it actually cuts into the lanes of traffic that we're supposed to be in. And just how the car handles it is better than I've seen some drivers in this area handle, which is concerning to say the least, but it's cool and awesome to see this and to get people who do want to drive in the car with me autonomously. Apparently earlier on today there was a sinkhole there and a car had fallen in. I can kind of see how, but this car maneuvered around it beautifully, and how it just takes this so smooth and goes back into the normal lanes of traffic. So I did have a 2021 Model Y that I did pay for. This was before full self-driving came out, so I paid, I think it was $12,000 for just to have it once it did come out. But that gave me autopilot and traffic-aware cruise control, and I was floored even by that. Just having that on highways, just be smart enough to change lanes and keep distance, and you still had to have your hands on the steering wheel, right? So it did still need to have that feedback of you holding the steering wheel and seeing and I had sold it right when full self-driving went into beta. After you had to, there was a point in time where they had that system where you had to like drive with a perfect 100 for X number of miles, and then you were put into the quote-unquote beta, but then they could take it away if you violated and you lost that 100 from either aggressive braking or hard turning or whatever the other metrics were. So I had sold it right before they released it to everybody who had paid for it, and I was always bummed that I never got a chance to experience it. And that 21 Model Y was, I believe, a hardware 3 computer. This has hardware 4, and I can tell you, I've driven in friends' Model Ys with hardware 3, and the autopilot, the full self-driving, is night and day difference from that generation computer to this generation computer. I think if I would have still had that Model Y, I would have been a tad bit upset, but nonetheless, I still would have probably enjoyed it. driving in the Juniper, it really is different. I don't hear a lot of the road noise like I used to hear. The ride isn't as harsh as it used to be in my old 21 Model Y. When I went to the service center and asked some questions about the leasing process and all that, and they were like, do you want to drive one? And I was like, how different could it be from, you know, the outgoing generation? And the guy at the sales guy at the service center, or the advisor at the service center, looked at me and he was like, here's a card key for the red one that's outside. He's like, drive it and you tell me. And literally the second I got in the car, I felt a difference. I heard a difference. It's hard to explain, especially when it's something I hadn't driven in almost 2.5 years. But you remember certain things about it. And I remembered how stiff it was. I remembered, like you heard, like it felt like I was sitting outside sometimes with the road noise. And I purposely don't have the windscreen on this microphone so you can hear more of what the drive actually sounds like. It's crazy the amount of work they put into this car to do the noise deadening and everything around that. That was the one thing I soon as I drove it, I knew, because I took it down one of the worst roads in Jacksonville to hear, you know, how it would handle potholes, how it would handle road noise, how it would handle anything that's around it. And it did it like a champion, like you hear when the turn signal's off. Like you really don't hear any of that road noise. So what we're gonna do when I get into Buc-ee's, I'm going to disable full self-driving, and then I'm going to park it into a spot, set my return route back to my neighborhood so we can look at how it handles turning into, or turning off the road into, that construction zone, and how it handles it perfectly. To make a quick joke, this is what they call the trifecta. So I'm in the Buc-ee's parking lot, and to my left, here, I'll actually pull it up on the map. To my left is a Costco, and right next to Costco is Bass Pro Shops. So this is like what people call the trifecta of the South, having all these in the same general area. Oh, look, there's a Cadillac charging at the Tesla Supercharger. It's good to see that also. I'm not one of those purists who's like, oh no, you can't do that. And that guy was driving in definitely in the wrong lane. Don't know if that should be in an outtake or be in the video itself, but we'll leave it the way that it is. Oh, I wanted the car to park itself. So let's go a little bit further down and pick one of these other spots that we can have it park in. Let's go right there. All right. We're going to put the destination to home. I'm going to blur out the screen while I do that. Not that I don't mind people know where I live, but I would rather people not know where I live. And we want to go down 95, which would be this one. So we're going to start FSD supervised, put our foot on the brake, and off we go to the next destination. Now it's giving it's telling me that one of the roads are closed, which we know that because we saw that on the way out. So let's see how we navigate that. I'm going to speed up the video so you don't see the reverse of what we did. If anything cool so happens to come along, I'll slow the video down to normal speed, jump on, tell you guys what's happening, but I'll see you on the other side of this video. All right, so we're going to be entering Construction Zone Alley right after this light. But the coolest thing is yet to come. Like I had said before, I was really nervous turning on full self-driving when I was leaving my community. Pulling into the community, I refused to turn it on, or I would always disengage it at the light in front of my community just because of what the construction looked like or looks like in the front of the community. I'm kind of upset that I didn't let the car or trust the car enough in the first couple of weeks that I had it. But once I was just like, man, forget it. Just let's see what it does. You can always break out of it. You know, step on the brake, jerk the wheel, turn it off with the button. There's things you can do, maybe not as fast as the car would be able to react, but there's things you can do as the driver too, to disengage it if you think or feel in your heart that something is gonna go wrong. Like for the first couple of times I did it, I had my foot hovering, well, you can't see, but I had my foot hovering over the brake and I was kind of hunched over, like when your kid is first learning how to ride a bike and you want to hold on to them, so you're kind of do that hover hold. That's what I was doing. But I trust Stormy now, and she hasn't let me down yet.
If you want to help support the channel, smash that like and subscribe button and share this with your friends who thinks full self-driving is a scam and doesn't work correctly. Now, what do I think of it? Coming from a 2021 Model Y, it's a night and day difference. I was first nervous to enable it, but once I did, I got more and more comfortable with it. It has become second nature to just get in the car and turn it on. It isn't perfect, but it's pretty close to perfect. I've had a few times where it did not do what it was supposed to do, but Tesla lets you send them bug reports straight from the car, and I have used that when, in the very small percentage, it does not do what it's supposed to do. I hope this puts you at ease as to what full self-driving can do, and honestly, I can't imagine driving without it anymore. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.